Right, Frontal Blessings. We are back with another video. All right, before we begin, just run through some quick announcements. First and foremost, the most important thing on the agenda currently right now, journey of the 7th annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference, which now is just a couple weeks away, 2.5, 3 weeks away. That'll take place October 31st to November 3rd. Right here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood area, which is minutes from the airport, minutes from the beach, minutes from shopping, tons of hotels, Airbnbs, very convenient location. So that'll take place in person. You could also attend virtually. If you can't make it in person, on Thursday, we will open up the conference with a graveside ritual, followed by a meet and greet, coffee and donut meet and greet at Dandy Donut. And then Friday and Saturday, we kick off with our classes, presentations, speakers from 9 to 4 p.m. Followed both evenings on Friday and Saturday evening. We will have got 2 great rituals planned for Friday and Saturday night. We have finalized those, but again, that's only for those that are actually going to participate in the conference. I try to keep the conference very personalized and exclusive, and it's kind of something that you kind of need to be there to experience. It's set up like that for a reason. And if you've come before in the past, and some of you have come multiple years in a row, you have a better understanding. And I just think some things to some degree need to be kept kind of very personalized and exclusive. All right, and then Sunday, that on the 3rd, the conference wraps up with myself doing a question and answer class from noon to 4 p.m. All right. All right, so having said that, if you want to sign up, shoot me an email. And if you want to register for the conference and attend, shoot me an email at khnum19@gmail.com, and I'll get that information to you. All right. If you are interested in a spiritual reading or a consultation, I offer various different types of readings: Klapothic demonic readings, Santa Muerte readings, Egyptian oracle readings, shadow work readings, which, as I've said many times before, is a great type of reading to do if you're looking for a sense of purpose and direction and to really see what's going on currently in your life at the moment. A deity reading to see what gods, goddesses, demons, and spirits walk with you. Maybe you're just interested in a spiritual consultation because you want to focus on something very specific on this path. Maybe you just got questions, etc. For any of the aforementioned, shoot me an email, khnum19@gmail.com. And please include in your email your full weekly availability and the time zone that you are in. We'll set something up that works for you and that works for me. All right, don't forget to check out, if you want to sign up for classes, check out the Primordial Chaos Patreon page, located at patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti. Tier 3 is the tier you want to join if you want to sign up for classes. I do 3 private classes on there every month, including a group ritual that we do together at the end of the month. All the classes are labeled and archived. There's a bunch of ongoing classes. Go to the Patreon page, patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti, and go to the collection section, and you will see every ongoing class that's happening right now. All right. And when you sign up for Tier 3 and you sign up to take the classes, you don't just get access from the day you join moving forward. You get access to everything in the archives going almost 5 years back now. All right. So that's patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti, and Tier 3. That's the tier you want to join. All right. Don't forget to check out the social media pages. Primordial Chaos 9, all one word, on Instagram. Primordial Chaos, 2 words, on Facebook, and then primordialchaos3.com on TikTok. That's the way to stay up to all the latest happenings, things we got going on here at Primordial Chaos. And don't forget to check out the Primordial Chaos podcast, available on Spotify and all major podcast platforms. The direct link to the podcast, my contact email address, the direct link to the social media pages, and the direct link to the Primordial Chaos Patreon page to sign up for classes. All of those links are in the description box of this video that you are watching right now. All right. So you see the title. I've done some videos and classes and things here and there on Samael. It's something that's always gone back to because of the importance of what Samael represents to us on this path. Especially if you're working the Klipothic system, or Klipothic sorcery or magic. So what does it mean when it talks about Samael and the venom of God? Okay. As we know, the name, when you break it down, Samael means poison those of El. Who is El? El, the definite article in the Hebrew language. Well, that's referring to the god El. And as I've said before, when you're studying Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, the three major monotheistic beliefs, the god that they worship is a Canaanite god called El, okay? They don't even understand who and what the origin of their God is. So as I've said before, one of the aspects of how we connect with Samael, when it talks about him and what the attribute or the title of his name represents, to poison those of God, I've elaborated on this, but to go a little bit further, it's destroying, poisoning, and annihilating all the falsehood, indoctrination, misinformation, mistruths that are propagated by this false god El, okay, which is the monotheistic God. Now, from a religious perspective, you're going to have religious people have a very, according to their religious theology, a very evil, negative understanding and aspect of who Samael is. Okay? We know Samael is that warring angel. And if you do work the clip path and you understand also his connection with the different cliffs, okay? We also see this in one of the gates and the portals of the clip pod called the dispersion of the raven. Okay? There's symbolicism with the raven or the crow, but especially in this case the black raven, with death. Or when we look at it from a more spiritual perspective, and when we say death, higher states of transformation, okay, when dealing with Samael, okay, because he's going to poison and destroy all the old ways that serve you no purpose, okay. When you hear me say that over the years, that's where I got it from my experience and work with Samael. And when you uncover your spiritual connection with Samael, as myself and many others have, he's going to point out to you some shit that you're doing wrong and that you need to change. And it could be stuff you've been doing for such a long time that you thought was right. I tell you guys this all the time. And that process can be very draining. It could sometimes be very painful. And it could sometimes lead you to question yourself on levels you've never questioned yourself before. You'll go through an inner mental struggle. It's almost like a tug of war. It's like a mental war. It's like a pull for your allegiance and loyalty. Okay? So, when connecting with Samael and the energy that he represents, and I mentioned the dispersion of the raven, which really is the days and times that we're living in right now, because the raven has been dispersed all over the planet. Right? There's all forms of death happening right now as we speak, which has to happen in order for the true change that is necessary to manifest. People don't understand that sometimes. Okay? So we're looking for change, but sometimes we're not preparing ourselves for the burden sometimes and the pain of that change. Okay? Because all over the world right now as we speak, you could feel there's something going on. Okay? You could feel in the ethers and the atmosphere that something is going down. Sometimes you just can't put your finger on it. You don't know what it is. Okay? But living in these days and times of the dispersion of the raven, this all deals with war, death, violence, crime, all of these different types of things that you see going on and manifesting are part of that energy. Now, when we understand the natural process of things, I just want to make this clear, because remember, we deal with cyclical time and cycles. We don't deal with linear time, illusionary time, right? It's almost like these things serve a purpose and are happening for a particular reason. And I'm not going to just get into a bunch of tangent on it, because some things get misinterpreted, okay? You have to go in and figure out and connect the dots, because some things need to be kept sacred to a certain degree, because when you put certain level of information in certain people's hands that are not ready for it, that's almost like a dangerous time bomb ticking ready to explode, right? It could be that bad. So you got to be very knowledgeable of who and what you're dealing with, okay? Now the dispersion of the raven and Samael and the venom of God, all of it, in essence, is about transformational change. Change that's on a level that's life-changing change we're talking. Sometimes to the point where you don't understand the magnitude of the change. People just think it's just normal, regular, ordinary, mundane things that it's talking about, and it's not. Okay? And also why that title or attribute, the venom of God, is affiliated with Samael. It's talking about him. Because some of the trials, tribulations, pains, and hardships you will come through, it's him bringing out, he's going to make you face a lot of those things, what's going to create a lot of pain when you reflect, or you intentionally inflict on something or somebody to master or to figure out, quote unquote, how to overcome. That poses that's a problem, because not everybody is equipped when they're going through hardships to at least understand right out the gate that this is a serious moment of change in my life, right? And you know how we talk about that a lot in many of the videos and the classes. Okay, be prepared for the change, be prepared for the change, etc., etc. The reality is, as many times as that's said, I'd be here all day telling you emails I get from people that are saying, hey man, I set out to do this on this path, and I really made a commitment to work with Lucifer and such and such. And then they start describing all that crazy worldly shit happening. I said, well, that's your sign right there. What you have to understand, change can be complicated if you don't understand it. It can be very embracing if you do. See, what's always going to happen when you're on this path, when I say this path, the left-hand path, the occult, people think their trials and tribulations come at moments of what they might label negative adversity, okay? That's not when it comes. The true tests and challenges come when everything is going smooth. And I use this, a recent example of something personally that I know, dealing with somebody that happened very recently, where sometimes things are flowing in your life and everything on the surface and in the present and the now feels very solid, feels very concrete, etched in stone, like you're on a good foundation. And that's great. But sometimes that foundation starts to crack, right? And that could be after long periods of doing well. And yes, it could be a little bit frustrating of regressing back or doing what you might have to do in the moment to master yourself. Okay? So it's not going to be easy, right? And you guys have known me for a long time. I have never, ever, once promoted this path as being something easy. I know there's a lot of gimmicks out there. I know there's a lot of hustles out there. I know there's a lot of people on the internet making ridiculous claims. I mean, I recently, believe it or not, you just think this shit sometimes is over. The dumb shit. And it's not. I recently got an email, 2 people recently, in the last 4 or 5 weeks that contacted me about how they got scammed online. Falling for the same tricks. People claiming they can initiate them in something or create some type of implement for them, and that's going to make them initiated, this, that, and the third, and it all turns out straight up being a scam. Okay? Because one of the things that Samael will destroy about you, because it's a very, very strong, glaring weakness in a lot of people, is still being stuck in systems of servitude. Okay? Samael is a God that walks in his pure majesty, walks in his confidence, and walks in perfect alignment of what we're all destined and able to be and become. Okay? When there are things that interfere with that, it's not a force or an energy you want to play with. So you have to be able to tap in and understand the power of Samael, and how can you take it and ritualize it. People, well, there's not an exact ritual to do for anything. There might be something that's very popular, that's grown over the years and become cemented in a book somewhere, and then somebody lays claim that this is this, that, and the third. Well, that's fine. That's their right. Okay? But it is also our right to have the ability to do what we need. Okay? It's called the pursuit of happiness, right? It's in our Constitution. Or the Declaration of Independence. I can't remember. Not that great on American history, but you get the point. Okay? So, having said that, if Samael, the venom that Samael unleashes is so strong and overpowering and empowering, I want to make that clear. Because once you clear the way for the right stuff to enter, or for your subconscious mind to be reprogrammed, that's when things really start to change for you. Now, you can't recognize change and not embrace it and then keep going back about your old ways and doing old things. I mean, you can, that's up to the individual, but that would defeat the purpose, right? Because those, every year there's supposed to be change and growth in your personal life via your spiritual work, right? I forgot what we were talking about recently about results. Something. This topic came up not too long ago. And I tell people, if you're getting results doing something, then stay at it. It's a no-brainer. Especially at this stage in the game if you're an older person, right? Because things become a little bit more difficult, right? In certain facets or aspects of our lives. So, change can never be underestimated. I know you hear that all the time, but unfortunately, it is. And it creates issues and problems for people who just don't understand, just don't get it. And you don't want to be one of those people, because then you kind of fall out of the pack. Okay? And like I said also in a recent video, there's always going to be casualties of war. Okay? One of the other dumb traits is people getting wrapped up into, and this creates major distractions. And I think I talked about this. No, I talked about this, I think, in the Patreon class. In kindergarten worldly distractions. This is another number one tool why people struggle, can't get results, because their energy is scattered. It's all over the place. They're caught up in high school arguments, he say, she say, talking about me, shit, bickering, shit. You would think that's something for small children. But you have grown adults who are still distracted by things that distracted them when they were children going years back. And the question is why? Samael, in the form of connecting with him through your shadow work, is very intense. Because a lot of the feedback I've gotten from you people over the years, including my own personal feedback, it is very taxing, painful. The emotions, not all painful, but it's up and down. And there's intense energies, and you can feel them being reciprocated. And that's working with Samael. Okay? Sometimes, like other deities, Samael will say, this might not be a good fit. So we ain't going to mess with it. We're going to wait. We're going to wait until something, right, needs to be messed with or changed. But if you don't change certain dumb habits about yourself, and I'm using the one I just said as an example, if you're still a grown-ass person that gossips all the time, that gets caught up in he say, she say shit, man, the best thing I can say is grow the fuck up. Okay? At this point, it's not necessary. We don't do shit like that. Okay? So, Samael's gonna dig up some very simplistic, mundane things around you that you're probably very conscious and aware of. He's going to really go on a deeper interior level and pull out things of a nature that you probably never addressed or were clueless that were there or affecting you in a certain way. Okay? So the venom of God, right? And I want to say this, though, before I wrap this short tutorial. The venom of God, right, is not what people think it is, or Samael is not what people think it is. Because what I'm saying, if you're trying to perceive it through a religious mindset of modern day monotheism, you'll never understand it. Okay, it's trying to show you different methods, systems, and methodologies of how you can master yourself. That's what Samael is about. Now, again, I'll leave you with this. I keep saying it, but it's about time to wrap it up. I'll leave you with this. Okay? Is it going to be easy? No. Will be there some pain, suffering, and sacrifice? Yes. What can you possibly ever really obtain in life without sacrificing something? Right? And I keep telling people that people don't want to give nothing up, but they want great change. Right? It's like that Steven Seagal movie, I think it was Out for Justice, where they had that scene with the Rastafarian brother, where he talks about everybody want to go to heaven, but nobody want to die. Think about that shit for a minute, right? When that first came out years back, I thought about that shit for a minute. I'm like, that's much deeper than just some cliche or some, just hip saying in the moment, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. But the thing that's funny to me is everybody screaming, we need change, this, that, and the third needs to be done. We got to have this hooting and hollering, but yet aren't willing to sacrifice or change anything about themselves. If that's you, I would not recommend you messing with Samael at all. Okay? Because your ego's going to get hurt. Your feelings are going to get hurt. Because you're going to be shown things and experience things that's going to put your ego in check. The weaker aspect side of your ego, as I like to say. Okay? And that's a fact. And I'm not going to sit here and blab about it, because the only way you come to the reality of that is through the experience in your work. All right? So drink from the chalice, the venom of God. Ingest it. Let it be painful, transforming, burning sensation, intoxicating, invigorating, blissful, all of those things. Everything you would describe as good and bad is that representation truly of the energy of Samael. It's all of those things. Because all of those things are a part of you, number one. And number two, you experience all those things for certain reasons because of things about yourself. So Understand that when you're working with Samael. All right. So I hope this short tutorial helped you. I'm about to wrap it up. Again, if you need to reach me, my email, khnum19@gmail.com, is for a reading or about the conference. The email address is in the description box of the video, along with the direct link to the podcast, the social media pages, and the direct link to the Primordial Chaos Patreon page to sign up for classes. That's going to do it for me. I'm out of here. Infernal blessings, and we'll talk soon.